Good evening, everybody. It's about 5 p.m. on Tuesday, December 20th. Just a few more days until Christmas. And I remember looking at the weather report that it was going to be in the 50s on December 20th. And sure enough, it's about 55 degrees right now. So we are, I think tomorrow's winter solstice. Yeah, I think tomorrow's winter solstice. So tomorrow's the shortest day of the year. This is what we got in the field here today. I was lazy. There's probably going to be a confession I'm going to make a lot in this farm. But I wasn't checking the power on the fence to see if it was at full voltage. And we had a wire break that I didn't know about that was shorting out part of the fence. We still had about half the voltage that we needed. Here you go, Kayla. But we had to fix that this morning. One of the tools that I got that I actually like, it's called a fence puller, or a barbed wire fence puller. And it's kind of like a come along to tighten the fence together. And I find that tool to be very, very useful, especially with crimps. So we use that to tighten up the fence. And I figure what happened was it just got cold. The fence was already tight and it just got tighter and it snapped. So there was some kinks in the wire. It wasn't quite laid out entirely straight. I was using wire that wasn't the wire that I wanted to use because there was a wire shortage at the time. So I just use whatever I can get. And it works, but there was a kink in the wire and just the tension was able to cause it to pop. So anyway, this is number 24. Number 24 was on the lean side earlier. Look how aggressive she's eating. She must be very hungry. Well, yeah. Here on Lazy Cow Farms, we don't have slouches. Our cows are all diligent. No lazy cows here. So Yellow just ate some of those weeds that was growing there. I don't know if you can see that. Just took the top off. Hello. This is one of the rams, no? This is one of the ewes? I think this is one of the rams. Yeah, that's a ram. He has a neck beard. Anyway, it's a beautiful day. We didn't get rain yesterday. We didn't get rain today. It's a beautiful, beautiful day though. The grazing that's going to be coming up here seems pretty good. Down at the beginning of the pasture, which will probably hit in mid-January or early February, the beginning of the pasture on the north side, the grass in some places is quite tall. I'd almost say 1.5 feet. And like here you can kind of see like little landmines where the grass is a little bit taller than the area around it. Down there's a lot of landmines. So hopefully by the time we work our way back here, March, middle of March, the grass will be nice and tall. It'll be springtime. And I might even not come here in the early spring, but take them to the neighbor's back 20, where I've been using that as a winter stockpile. Spring stockpile, I guess, because it's a stockpile for spring. A winter stockpile will be stockpile for winter. So it's just been a few minutes. The cows have already pretty much grazed most of the grass here. The strategy right now is keep them bottled up in one area, have them mow the lawn, poop and pee, and just keep them moving. And then I'm going to feed to supplement what nutrients they can't get so they can survive the winter. So that's my goal, just survive. Come springtime, that's when we're going to put on weight again. Let me see if this one will let me touch her. Nope. I have to choose which heifers to keep. That's a bull, so I'm not going to keep him. Yeah, come springtime, it might be time to separate the bulls out. Start weaning them. Right, Blue? I'll have to figure out when I want to sell them and get them all ready for the sale. Oh, what a beautiful evening, though. Almost the shortest day of the year. That's 21, my big fatto. You're fatso. Fatty fat. It's good for a cow to be fat though. So, fat is good. So yeah, they're gonna munch on the grass here. They've already taken the tall stuff, but they're gonna munch on the rest a couple times. Hopefully they'll drop their manure down here and their urine. Yeah, this was a dried out patty. This one's probably 3 months old or more. That's what it looks like. It's just dirt. It looks like really clean dirt, actually. The kind of dirt I wouldn't mind my kids playing in if they were little kids. Speaking of which, I had a weird dream where I had a baby. And I took the baby out to the field and the baby started eating the dirt. And I was like, oh no, don't eat the dirt. It's not good for you. You know, heaven forbid you build a natural tolerance to the things in nature. You know, so I wasn't too concerned about it. I know people get all upset. They're worried about their babies getting sick from the animals, but I think the diseases that we get from the animals make us stronger. It's one of the secrets that that's why Europeans, when they came to America, were so much healthier, and they didn't get wiped out by like the different diseases that America's had, because we brought those diseases with us because we were tolerant to them. We'd survived them, you know, partially because we did a lot of animal husbandry. What's that book? It's a book about how the terrain, the geography affects culture, and Europe was kind of like in an ideal situation. So anyway, yum, yum, yum. Eat that grass. Yeah. I'm just excited about, the thing that I'm excited about is right now my field, there's like this is probably some of the worst ground in my field. Like there's some spots that are dead like this. But otherwise, it's all green, you know. Here we are in late December, the latter third of December, and it's green. Right? It's amazing. I love it. I have no complaints. Can it get better than this? Probably. It can be a lot worse. It was a lot worse last year, I tell you that much. Anyway, hopefully I'll keep doing these documentation of my field videos. And come, I think it's August is when I started. Next August, you'll see if there's a difference. Of course, the drought made a big difference, but we'll see what looks different. This part of the pasture was not mowed. It was not shredded. I just let the goatweed go. The reason why was because the cows were here. I didn't want to cross the wire with the tractor, and there wasn't a lot of goatweed to start with. It wasn't that bad. Last year the goatweed was really bad here. This year it's just average. And I did shred the whole field last year, 2021. But in 2022 I only shredded part of it. And I noticed that the parts that were bad with goat feed last year are not that bad this year, and vice versa. So I think goatweed, like all plants, has a purpose. And one of the purpose of weeds, so-called weeds, is they restore the soil. They bring balance back. And the weeds, once they've done their job and the soil's restored, the weeds just kind of go away. Just like you know, animals, they tend to wear out their welcome in nature. Plants do the same thing. You know, plants, they survive in conditions that they exploit until the conditions are no longer present. And so there's a constant battle, like we're going to see in the field if things go right. Clover versus grass. Some years the grass is going to dominate in one spot. The next year the clover is going to dominate, and they're going to go back and forth. And I think the goatweed, like the idea of me getting rid of all the goatweed seeds in the pasture, that's impossible. That's not going to happen. That ship has sailed a long time ago. And so if I wanted to get rid of the goatweed, what I have to do is make the environment inhospitable to the goatweed. And the way you do that is either you deprive the goatweed of the nutrients it needs or provide some kind of poison. that the goatweed would kill the goatweed, and I'm against that because it would kill other things too. Or you have other plants that come in and outcompete the goatweed, so the goatweed can't survive. And I think that's what's going to happen is eventually the grass will be strong enough that when the goatweed decides it's time to grow, the grass will say, nope, you know. And so the goatweed will just kind of die out as the grass takes over. But the grass has to be healthy. And that's actually, if you're doing lawns, if you have a lawn and you want to make the lawn healthy, that's what you got to do. Is if the grass is super healthy, the weeds can't survive. And how do you get super healthy grass? Well, you got to have those roots go deep. How do you get those roots to go deep? Well, you got to have good soil, and you got to water it the right way. If you're doing shallow waterings every day, the roots will never go deep. The grass will never really establish itself. If you're putting fertilizers on top of the grass, in that top layer, then the roots are going to stay up there as well. You need to let the grass penetrate deep into the soil. Let it grow that root system out. Mowing techniques too. If you have a lawn, I know this for a fact, if you let it grow a little bit too long and then you mow it too hard, it's going to kill the grass. You can't take more than a third off at a time. If you mow it consistently, at a good height, not very short. People, I think, keep their lawns too short. But if you keep it at a good height, for me, that's like 3 or 4 inches deep. Let the grass live. Let the grass thrive. It'll build out the soil. It's the root system, and encourage the right biology. And then the weeds can't compete with that. You know, a weed seed shows up at the surface and starts to sprout. Well, the grass has already sucked up all the nutrients and all the moisture. There's nothing for the weed to do. Whereas here, the weeds are filling in where the grass isn't growing. The weeds here are welcome. Please come, weeds, please. Dig deep in that soil and put those root systems down. Please, you know, modify the biology of the soil. You know, consume the conditions that make your life ideal here. Make way for the grass when it's time for the grass to grow. That's what I think is going to happen. So yeah, it's pretty weedy right now, but it'll turn to grass later. Anyway, guys, just rambling. Have a great day. Enjoy the views. Bye-bye.